In this video, we are talking about the topic of all topics, how to stop caring what other people think of you, also known as giving a f***. And isn't this such a buzzkill in your life? Like, you go through life and you see people who seem to not care as much as you get further ahead, get promoted, get the recognition, and you're like, what is wrong with, why do I care so much? And I know it's holding me back. I go on that date and instead of connecting with them, I'm in my head. Or I'm socializing and I'm worried, hey, did that joke land or are they judging me? Even when you're out in public, you're like reciting your order in your head so it doesn't come out wrong. Here's the good news. This is a skill you can learn and a muscle you can train. It's not you either have it or you don't, you're stuck forever. And this is not coming from a place of superiority. Here are the 3 things you must do. I'm right in the trenches with you. This is my problem, caring too much what other people think. And I've had to do immense inner work to get over this. So I want to save you some time, some pain. I just want to give you what works and kind of like a no BS way to stop caring what other people think in my experience. So if that sounds good, let's get going. Part 1, why do you care? You might have said, I want to stop caring what other people think, and that's not really the right goal, because caring about what people think is actually a good thing. Evolutionarily speaking, if you got banished from a tribe, aka they didn't like you, that meant death. You were on your own. Humans are one of the only animals that need a mother to survive for up until what, the age of 5, 6, 7? So caring about things and being cared for is hardwired in your DNA. Caring a lot can mean you're an empathetic person. You want to have a good relationship with the people. You want them to like you because you like them. So let's first define the goal. Like, caring what other people think is not always bad. In fact, having a high social EQ, emotional intelligence, can really help you in your career, in your relationships, and in life. But where it stops serving you and where it can hurt you is where you care too much. Some people confuse with numbing out completely, developing this apathetic wall. I just don't care. You know, my house is burning down. Who cares? Sir, your friend, he's causing a scene. He's like urinating all over the floor. Oh yeah, him? Yeah, he's trying this new thing he saw in a YouTube video. No one's saying that, okay? I think this advice can get taken too far, too fast, and too extreme. You ready for some tips? Let's give you some tips. Just the tip number 1. There's a great mantra. Goes like this: don't value the opinions of those you don't respect. A lot of times when we care what people think, we're caring about the wrong people's opinions. We care more about what the anonymous people online that we'll never meet than our own friends and family, coworkers, or people like in our life. If you don't know people, then their opinion doesn't really matter. The next part of this, because I know you're like, well, actually, no, it's people in my immediate life that, I care about them a lot. This one is, don't take criticism from people you wouldn't take advice from. It is so easy to tell people what to do instead of us doing it. This is literally like a projection. Literally look at the people who are judging you or you're concerned about their opinions and say like, do I actually want their results? Tip number 2. Back in college, I took a class in sports medicine. Now, one of the assignments was to take someone who'd never been in a gym and help them train. And so I found this kid on my floor and he was really nervous about going to the gym. And rightfully so. It can be an intimidating place if you've never been there. You got a dude pulling up in a lifted truck with just tribal tattoos and, puts a hoodie on and is lifting out his demons on tren. And so, you get to talking to him and he says, I don't want to go to the gym because I'm worried that everyone's looking at me and I'll look stupid. But when your friend finally works up the courage to go to the gym, you're finally able to point out the simple fact, no one's looking at you because they're all too worried looking at themselves. Everyone's looking at themselves in the mirror and they're not really focusing in on what you're doing. This actually has a name. It's called the spotlight effect. Psychological phenomenon where people feel like we're being watched more than we really are. Essentially saying we're the center of the universe, baby. And when we walk in a room, all eyes on us. It doesn't mean you're narcissistic. It doesn't mean you have a grandiose self-esteem. This is a psychological phenomenon we all feel. Remember that people are too worried thinking about themselves to really care a lot about us at all, especially strangers. Tip number 3. The next lesson I've learned, having humor and playfulness. Anytime you catch yourself taking things too seriously, if you can just diffuse that intensity with loosening up and laughing at yourself or the situation. As hard as it is, I promise you this tip is worth its weight in gold. Like if you can find the fun and the humor in a situation that's really intense and serious, that just cracks the whole thing open. These videos, if I find myself like doing the roll thing again, just making like a self-deprecating joke, even if it doesn't make the cut in the final video, the jokes are for me. Helps break out of the shell. 80% of the times we don't even put the jokes in. Even in this video, like we can find the humor together in this situation. Taking ourselves too seriously, caring too much what people think. We are so important that when we walk into a room, everybody stops what they're doing and turns their head and looks at you. Even that situation, you know, we can exaggerate it and have fun there. Like that's not what happens. Tip number 4, this one, I want to tell you a bit of a personal story if that's okay. It was 800 days ago, I gave up drinking and had a lot of positive effects. Slept better, felt mentally more present and clear. But one of the negatives that I never expected, realizing I was covering up a lot of low grade social anxiety with drinking. You know, you go out to a party and there's alcohol there, you drink, you loosen up and you have a good time, right? Around the holidays, you got your in-laws. Sometimes I call them the outlaws. Oh man, all right, let's bottoms up. I had been doing that for 10 plus years and it works. Like drinking is that magical switch that boom, whenever you want to loosen up, you ever want to stop taking yourself so seriously, you just hit that button, knock it back, and then this looseness comes out. So when that gets taken away from you, I found it really hard to like go out to restaurants and like have a good time initially. I'd be like checking my clock. Let's go, come on. You know, I kind of felt like a buzzkill in a way, or I'd notice myself caring too much what people thought, when in the past I would just let loose and not care at all. But then I realized that looseness, that was still a part of me that drinking, yeah, brought it out, but that part is still within you. Even if you don't drink, it's hidden somewhere. And then I thought deeper, like, why does alcohol or drinking, why does it work? Well, if you know the science behind it, it blunts your prefrontal cortex, which is a lot of your like thinking and perception and all that. So it's reducing your consciousness, which is so funny because isn't caring what other people think. We say, I'm feeling self-conscious, right? Conscious of self. And then right in here, I realized the magical lesson is when you're over concerned with yourself, you have too much self-consciousness. The solution is to take the focus off of you and put it onto other people. This is like the lesson of all lessons. If you take one thing away from this video, it's this: being interested instead of interesting. Yes, talk about yourself. Yes, give effort. But if you're just really interested in the other person, it's amazing what kind of relationships come out of that. Just the tip, number 5. I think the next lesson too is practicing what I would call radical self-acceptance instead of like radical transformation. On one hand, I believe strongly in self-improvement. You know, I was 30 grand in debt in my mom's basement. I was a cluster of just like bad, negative, limiting beliefs. And I've seen what like working on yourself can do. But then there's also the other side, which is radical self-acceptance, which is at a certain point, no matter how much improvement, you just can't out-improve accepting yourself. Like you just have to just say, I'm okay with what I am. Knowing the difference between things you can change and things you can't and don't want to because that's authentic to you. Great way to tie this together. I got a buddy who has a hole in his chest, like a pectus condition you're born with. And that's not something he's like trying to actively get rid of and out-train it. He's just radically self-accepted it and he rocks it. And it's a part of his identity and he shares his story with people and no one judges him because he's accepted it, right? So when you accept these flaws about yourself, that is what confidence is. That is when you stop caring what other people think and you accept yourself. That's a solution right there. Actually backed up, funny enough, by what research has come out. There's something called the pratfall effect. I might butcher this, but essentially what happens is when an actor goes in and there's 2 tapes people watch, the first one has no mistakes and the second one has a mistake. When the actor made no mistakes, people rated him as, you know, competent, but they were like, he's a bit colder, I don't like that person. The tape with mistakes, when people saw that, they were like, he's really competent And I love that person because he's relatable. He's just like me. And so the secret with you and not caring what other people think is understand that people don't relate to perfect. Like if you're slick and smooth and, you know, Mr. or Mrs. Perfect, like that's so unrelatable and that's so boring. Like people want the real you. They want that grit and radical self-acceptance. I'm okay with the things I can't change. I've accepted them. They're a part of me. That gives you the confidence to loosen up and say, take it or leave it, is what it is. And in a day-to-day solution, how do you practice radical self-acceptance? I think it comes down to adopting the mindset that nothing's a big deal, right? Nothing's a big deal. Nothing's inherently embarrassing. If I make it a big deal, then it's a big deal. If I'm embarrassed, then it's embarrassing. Here's my last and probably best tip for you. There's something called a mirror principle, where when you look in the mirror, you see a reflection. All of life works this way. Your external world, the mirror, is what's reflecting internally. So if you believe the world is full of people who want to hurt you, you're going to see a bunch of people that want to take from you and hurt you and skip over all the generosity out there. So let's apply that principle to you. If we're overconsumed what other people are thinking of us, what is, let's mind read you through the camera here. What is something you do all day? You probably judge other people. You're probably thinking about what they're doing or creating narratives in your head. Most of the time subconscious. I grew up in like skateboard culture and in bands, and it was cool to be a rebel and kind of anti and counterculture. And so you would just like think everything's BS. That's lame. That person's a poser. And that was cool. That's like how you bond with people. And then I got into my 20s and later 30s, and I'm like, dude, that is not a good way to live. But that's been conditioned and that's so habitual in the way my neurons fire and wire. I had to actively catch myself and be like, dude, you're an asshole. Like the way you think and judge people. And so that's something you have to really be conscious of and work on and catch yourself. Like you can't carry around that punk rock skater mindset into your 30s. Otherwise, you're just gonna be an asshole. It's not cool anymore, dude. So the secret is practicing non-judgment towards others. Knowing that everything internally reflects externally and vice versa. If we're concerned what people are thinking, if we're in our heads when we're in an interaction, look inside and be like, oh, am I judging other people? Moreover, I want you to stop. If you feel like you have too many things, and you're like, all right, this is another thing on the list. Stop everything else you're trying to do right now and just focus on this. I promise this will change your life. Non-judgment for 1 week. You are not going to judge anyone, anything, or any part of yourself. The way you do this, you look for your shoulds. They shouldn't be doing that. They should have texted me. Why are they doing that? Why are they talking like that? What are they doing? Anytime you're tempted to like give a little chuckle, like, yeah, that's lame. All of that right there. Non-judgment for a week. Tell me how different you feel. Come back to this video. I want you to try that and watch it change your life. And that is the many ways you can stop caring about what other people think. Thanks so much for watching. Do you like this video? Let me know your thoughts in the comment because I care so much what you think. Love ya. I'll put up a video right here. Good follow-up for you. If you want our help reinventing yourself, getting out of your own way, and achieving more in 10 weeks than you have in 10 months, I'll link down below to Metamorphic, our coaching program. We help you reinvent yourself into the 2.0 you. Stop settling, start living. See ya.